Call to order and the pledge of allegiance. We could all rise. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Want to do the roll call?
Sure will, Mr. President. Jimmy Mack,
Here.
Matt Parsons, present. Hannah Pell O'Farrell,
Present.
Joe McLaughlin,
Present.
and Sarah Topping.
Present.
We are all here, Mr. President.
All right. You want to make a motion on the minutes?
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes for the last meeting.
I'll second that. All.
I'll abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay. Thanks for the motion. All right, we good?
Yep,
with
all in
minutes?
favor? Aye.
Okay. We're going to dispense with communications. We did not get that letter and go right to the proclamations. A little something I'd like to read. And I have it in big print, so I don't need my glasses, okay? Okay, starting with Scott Horowitz. Trustee Horowitz has spent the past 16 years as a public servant of the town of Southampton, 12 of which were on the Board of Trustees of the Commonalty. Under his 9-year leadership as President and Secretary-Treasurer for the Town Trustees, Trustee Horowitz was able to usher and execute a pivotal memorialization of financial independence for the board that leaves a foundational stability for the future of this historic board. His foresight for protecting the trust and access for future generations spanned from spearheading critical infrastructure projects like the Spionk Shores Dock Facility and Bay Avenue, stabilizing and improving public access and water quality, as well as guiding the public and his staff to create a functional and collaborative community resources. His leadership assisted in the resolution of the picnic area, as well as West Hampton Dunes lawsuits that protect public access and historic beach use. His dedication and hard work are ingrained in everything he did and continues to do for the freeholders of the town, and we are happy to recognize him here today with this proclamation. Scott, we have a beautiful proclamation for you.
This is where I come up.
This is where you come up.
Jimmy, why don't you walk around?
Jimmy, go around and give it to him.
This is where I come around. Here we go. All right.
Hey. Thank you.
There we go.
I actually do have writing in there.
Yes.
Can I say a few words?
Yes,
'Cause
absolutely.
I know I've never been known to be short of words, like collaboration. I want to thank the board for recognizing the hard work. I would like to say that it was my pleasure to work on all of those problems. It's always been my nature to see things that are broken or need some tweaking or fixing or betterment, and to do that. I've never been a golfer. I've always spent my time doing something like that. And, I feel really good that you recognize that, and the whole mission, and working with my esteemed colleague, Mr. Warner, was to prepare this board for the future. And I think it's just terrific that you recognize that, and that you're here and it's in place, and that some of the heavy lift issues are off the table so that this board can concentrate on really doing the good work of the people of the town of Southampton. I'm still involved, going to be working with the county on the working waterfront, which has always been very important. But I'm also really looking forward to enjoying the resources that I spent, as you point out, 16 years protecting. So I'm looking forward to getting out there, clamming and fishing. A lot of my time was given back to the town working on those issues, and I'm looking forward to spending that time with my 5-year-old grandson. It was his birthday yesterday. It was great. And actually getting out there on the bay and on the boat and doing that. You folks have got your work cut out for you. Mother Nature has not been kind to the trustees. It seems to be a recurring theme with all this ice. I know the waterfowl is struggling, and there's a lot of ice damage out there. And, you guys are going to have to, and gals are going to have to roll up your sleeves and get to work on that, because there's going to be a lot a lot of things to do. So I want to thank you very much. I want to say thank you to the people of the town of Southampton that supported me for all that period of time and allow me to accomplish what I really feel needed to be done for generations to come. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Scott.
Thank you again, Scott. This is a huge seat to fill, and I hope I do right by you.
I feel you'll do a great job. I feel that you'll all make us proud. It's a mission, and you're going to feel that. And just one more thing. On the trail, I would always say this is a highly misunderstood board in terms of what it is that we actually do. And I think you folks are going to understand as we go what I mean by that. So thank you very much for serving.
Thanks again. Okay, and on to Ed Warner. Trustee Warner dedicated almost 20 years to the board of the Town of Trustees and served 8 years in leadership roles as both president and secretary-treasurer. Ed Warner Jr. was instrumental in the collaborative effort of Shinnecock Bay Restoration Program with Stony Brook University, which led to New York State's first ever Hope Spot designation from Mission Blue, an organization founded by renowned scientist Sylvia Earle that recognizes biodiversity, critical habitat, cultural and economic value, and restorative potential. By 2022, Shinnecock Bay had 6 consecutive years without brown tide, and it says here a 1,500% increase in clam, is that right? Harvest and the expansion of over 100 acres of eelgrass. Trustee Warner heralded the continuity of the town pump-out program, which has collected over 1.5 million gallons of wastewater since 1995, and led to no discharge zones in our local estuaries. His deep knowledge of the waterways, its bottoms, lands, and the economic, historic, and cultural importance of the Baymen of Southampton Town has proven an invaluable benefit to the commonality and has set standards to perpetuate the sustainability of local waterways. We are thrilled to present him with this proclamation today. And another beautiful proclamation.
Thank you.
So deserving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Board. Well, first off, for a board that everybody says is so misunderstood and really not deeply appreciated, I think we left a great fingerprint or footprint on the environment and what we have done in the time I was on the board, short time you were on the board, and past generations. We've preserved multiple species like the Peconic Bay Scallop or Shinnecock Bay Scallop. 1985, the brown tide came along. It literally virtually wiped out the whole entire scallop fishery. With the trustees in the town of Southampton, Steve Tittleback and the college, we have done a great restoration project. And right now, up until 4 years ago, the bay scallop population was thriving. We have another hurdle now. It's a parasite. So now we're working with Stony Brook and Cornell and New York State DEC to figure out how we can get the scallops parasite-proof. So, and one of the things that I really did appreciate about this board is the amount of people that you touch base with. Right from, the federal government, the state, local municipalities, and, other trustee boards, this board here, the people in town hall. You make friends, you work on projects, and you accomplish a lot. One person, no matter how smart you are or how good you are, isn't going to make a difference. But when everybody comes together, it really makes a difference. So, board of 5 individuals like yourselves, you guys are going to make a world of difference for the town moving forward. So thank you so much for this proclamation. I really do appreciate it. And that little girl that walked up on here on the day I left, sitting where Joe is and sat on my lap, That's why I'm doing that and for her sister and other generations. So thank you so much.
I wondered if Ed wanted to stay for,
You want me to ask him
yeah, right.
if he's going to?
Oh, she's giving them brownies. Okay.
I'm happy he didn't leave without them. So I was like,
All right. We're going into, when she gets back, we'll move on to discussions, okay? Or should we just go ahead?
you can just go ahead.
Yeah, you want to move on to the, open up for discussion, starting with the Peconic Bay Keeper, and that would be you?
Yeah, so, Mr. Toppings,
I also have Alexa Annunziata.
great,
Welcome.
come on down.
Come here, come down, you can come sit here.
Awesome,
These
thank you so
are-
much.
Maybe just pass these down. You don't have to look at these now, but just for future reference.
Where's the sign-in sheet?
Yeah, where's the sign-in sheet?
Oh, it's on,
'Cause-
it's on the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's over there.
Yeah, you want to just, you bring it over here so we have it right here. You guys can.
So,
It's okay.
Thank you, Joe.
I have a Baykeeper T-shirt
Oh, wow.
on. One of my
Appreciate
many
the
layers
support.
today.
I
The heat is,
heard it was a little chilly in
it
here.
was, and it's fine now.
Are you all ready?
Yeah.
All right, so the reason I'm here today, I'm Pete Topping, Peconic Baykeeper. I believe I know you all at this point. I also have Alexa Annunziata. She's our Director of Outreach, so we're a full-time program staff of 2. We're based out of Hampton Bays off Red Creek Road, right across from Red Creek Pond. And the organization, we're an environmental nonprofit, so that's a big point of confusion. We are not the Bay Constable. I'm not trying to become the Bay Constable, but we are an environmental advocate, and we try and work with enforcement entities, including the Bay Constables, New York State DEC, kind of as a partner in protecting the environment. So when Ann Welker, before she was legislator, when she was trustee, she used to have me come in once a year to give the board an update on what we did. I have not been in a while, and I recognize there's a complete turnover since last time, so I just thought it would be great for you all to be kind of aware of what we're currently doing in Southampton Town waters, and also just so you know things that you might be able to reach out, whether you need advice, whether you need support. We're happy to do that as long as it's something that's protecting our waters and environment. Looking at the wrong screen. Oops. Trying to click here. It's not working.
Check the other, try the other
What's up?
one. Try the other one.
The other.
The other.
Is there another remote?
All right, just let me know and
Oh, there
I'll.
there it
you
goes,
go,
there it
there you
goes.
go.
Just let me know and I'll move.
Yeah, I'll just have James do it. So I'm going to go through a quick overview of a few programs and then kind of wrap up with the Oyster program, which is probably our most intertwined program with the trustees. So we work with the Surfrider Foundation, and then we have another partner out east, the Concerned Citizens of Montauk, and we run a program called the Blue Water Task Force Bacteria Monitoring Program. This is for Enterococcus bacteria. It's the same fecal coliform that the Suffolk County Department of Health Services uses to test bathing beach waters. Bathing beach waters are lifeguarded bathing beaches. We all know that there are lots of other areas where people recreate. So what we do this as a public service. We currently have 27 sites in Southampton Town. This map's not all inclusive, but this is what you would see if you went onto the website and looked at the reports. They're color coded. We test weekly from June through September, and then we go bi-monthly And then sometimes monthly in the winter time, depending on the spots. And we do this every Monday. So I'm just letting you know because sometimes people reach out and they want to know, how what bacteria levels might be in a local creek. We will share this information with the county if it's an issue like a place like Mashut Beach that's lifeguarded. So and they'll actually follow up because we can't open and close beaches based on this, but we can just put that information out there. Next. Oh, okay, so just the report the report kind of looks like down in the lower right. The system we use is is through IDEX, and you can see in the lower left there the tray that's kind of glowing. That shows that there's bacteria present in that sample. It takes about 24 hours. One of the samples we test is over by Tiana Bayside, where the SPAT program is. So that's one of our samplers. And we did work last year with former trustee Chip Marin, who helped us get a sign placed over by the Mecox Cut by Scott Cameron. And it's QR code so people can scan it. We are interested in potentially putting some signage at other sites, but this was kind of a pilot to see how it goes. I think the Parks was a little nervous that people would kind of get freaked out and might provide too much, on their plate. But so far, that's been a good experience. All right, next. Another program that we are involved in is through the New York State Horseshoe Crab Monitoring Network. So there's a number of sites all around Long Island, and this is really spearheaded by the Cornell Cooperative Extension, Dr. Matt Sclafani. Peconic Baykeeper, we are a site coordinator for Meadow Lane, so right across from Dune Beach. And I work with Sally Kellogg from the South Shore Estuary Reserve. So sometimes it's both of us together, sometimes it's one of us, but at least one of us is always there. That information will be up on our website soon, and if you have not been down there, some nights we have well over 1,500 horseshoe crabs that come to spawn on that beach right there. So we take volunteers, we've hosted tagging nights, we've had school groups, we put out about 200 tags a season, and that season runs from May, usually till the end of June around the full and new moon. So please come to that if you haven't experienced that. All right, next. Another thing that some of the newer trustees might not be familiar with, that's pretty significant, especially in Southampton town, is river herring, most specifically alewife. Southampton, we have Big Fresh Pond, which the tributary that comes out of that is called Alewife Creek. It's one of the most significant river herring runs on Long Island, aside from the Peconic River. There's actually also another fairly significant run right in Southampton Village that goes into Halsey Neck Pond via Taylor Creek. So we are out there in the spring. We work with Seatuck Environmental. There's a whole Long Island river herring survey network where people are trying to go out and document the presence of river herring in streams. In some of these cases, it's to document areas where fish passage or habitat improvement might be necessary. And I've, the last few years, worked with a few volunteers. Usually starting in early March, we'll actually walk through the streams from Big Fresh Pond all the way to through Alewife Creek to Noyak Road, as well as through the creek that comes from Halsey Neck Pond, and just make sure there's no large debris blocking that stream. Those streams. The trustees have also typically sent maintenance crews at least to walk through Alewife Creek, because it's a pretty narrow stream. In some places it's only a few feet wide. You get a large pile of leaves or something like that, it literally can block, thousands upon thousands of fish or slow them down. So please reach out with that, or if anyone's interested in seeing that. I think it's one of the most remarkable natural events that we have going on
No, say-
still.
Truly,
Pete,
yeah.
I believe there is a blockage in North Sea, so if you guys can go down there pretty soon, I was told by a few residents that there is a blockage at LY Creek. So
Oh,
please-
great,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, and some of that, it does have it's a little bit ephemeral, so it will dry up in the fall sometimes, and then you
Yeah.
get this snowpack, when that melts, it's coming all from the Tuckahoe Woods watershed, and we'll typically see those stream levels swell. I have seen the river herring migrate as early as mid-February. That's not gonna happen this year.
Yeah.
But usually right around St. Patrick's Day, which coincides also with the return of our osprey. So that's one of those connections, and it really highlights why they're important, because without the river herring here, those osprey that are coming from Florida and Central America, South America, wouldn't really have a reliable source to get them started so they can defend their nests from bald eagles and all that. All right, next. One just environmental issue that I just wanted to bring you up to speed, and I've haven't gotten very far with the Suffolk County on this. This is the culvert. There's two culverts on Alewife Creek. One is at North Sea Road. That used to be a big pipe culvert, and at low tide, the fish couldn't get through there. The town did a fantastic job of redoing that culvert. It's now like a natural rock bottom. The first time I went to see it, I saw fish just swim right through it. It was pretty amazing. However, that only gets them part of the way up the stream. There's another box culvert right off North Sea Road, and if you can't find it, just look for the big orange barricades. And so this culvert's problematic for a few reasons. One, because of scouring, it's perched up a little bit, so when, on low water years, the fish actually have a hard time getting over it. Two, because of the amount of road runoff coming from North Sea Road, there's all sorts of debris. I've been reaching out to the county for 6 years about this. They have done absolutely nothing to mitigate, not even a hay bale. And I'm happy to show anybody this. But so there's a lot of runoff that happens there, particularly on the west side of that stream. A lot of sediment, and it's really just a lot of pollutants that are also then being carried downstream to North Sea Harbor, which is also pretty important. All right, next. And then I'm also just highlighting this so that you'll see there's some kind of parking barricade or curbing, I guess, that was put there to divert the water. And there are some rock pools that aren't shown in here. That does help the fish get over, but it also creates a choking point. So I've set up trail cameras there, and it looks like the the Alaska salmon grizzly cameras, where it's just these giant raccoons that just camp out there all season, and they just massacre these fish. I've had people actually call about fish kills, and I'm like, no, it's just the raccoons. So we're trying to get the county, the Peconic Estuary Partnership has this on their priority plan. The Nature Conservancy has identified this as a problematic culvert. So there may be a point where we're reaching out for further support from the trustees just to, help these fish kind of get through that hurdle. All right, next. We also do a fair amount of cleanup events. You might recognize the guy on the far right as environmental analyst James Duryea. We also had Bill Menger, mayor of Southampton Village, come out. Last year, we did a Meadow Lane marsh cleanup. We removed a ton of garbage in a few hours on a cold April day.
Okay, we see.
People were amazed because a lot of the cleanup efforts locally focus on beach cleanups, which is great. But really, our marshes, and I'm saying this particularly, I'm foreseeing this as a big issue this year with all the ice flows. Lots of debris ends up in the marshes if it doesn't get picked up early in the season. The marshes grow in. So we're going to be doing that again in mid-April. So I'll be reaching out to James, just to hopefully help you hopefully you'll help spread the word. We also did a Cold Spring Pond shoreline cleanup last year. Same thing along Shrubland Road, which has become a big commuter bypass. We found flat screen TVs, hubcaps, bottles, cans, all sorts, and it was within several weeks of cleaning that up, I started seeing that accumulate again. So the trustees were kind enough to lend us the dump trailer for that. They just left it on the side of the road. I got a crew of guys from a local business, and we filled it up. So we're hoping to do that again this year. And then we did a paddle cleanup in Red Creek Pond. So we are doing some cleanups, and most specifically, what I'm trying to focus on, or what we're trying to focus on, is marsh cleanups and hitting those areas that would be in your jurisdiction that are also largely neglected by other efforts. All right, next. We also, one of the better parts of my job is we have a boat. We have an 18-foot boat, and we do what we call pollution patrol, or look for issues. You know, we're not in Western Long Island looking for combined sewer overflows or anything, but we do run into a lot of issues out here. In the top right, that's actually a discharge pipe I found going into Owhave Creek last year when we were doing one of those walkthroughs. I got in touch with Marty Shea, and they followed up with that. So we're always looking for those things because they do happen. And then one thing I wanted to bring up, we are an environmental organization. We're not anti-fishing. We're not anti-hunting. But Southampton Town, as you likely know, has the largest waterfowl program in New York State as far as duck blinds. I didn't even know this as a lifelong resident until I looked it up. And one thing, and I will not say this is the majority at all, but one thing I do notice from time to time is because there are many areas, or the majority of the town, the duck blinds can be left in the water year-round. Some of them are better secured than others. And a lot of times what I find is going by, these duck blinds drift up. This is going to be a big issue again, as I think Scott or Ed alluded to. There's going to be a lot of work in the spring. Just kind of keeping an eye on these duck blinds because they can end up on the marsh. And I circled this lower red level down area down there on the right. That's one in Red Creek Pond that has been a fairly chronic offender, and you can see where that duck blind has actually destroyed part of that marsh. So just something for you to consider in your applications, and also when you get violations, you know, who's securing their duck blinds properly. And then last but not least, you know, one of the issues that I would love to see some momentum on, not only with this board, but also with other trustee boards, is kind of pursuing the idea of investigating dock foam as a marine pollutant. There are lots of docks here around that still have that blue foam, and when the docks get lifted, same thing, duck blinds, that foam is constantly deteriorating, ends up on the marshes where it continues to break down. There are alternatives. You know, there's encapsulated, and then dock foam, and I believe just the air-filled plastic flotation. But at least that stays intact and can be reused. And there's, you know, it's not as much of an issue as that blue dock foam. All right, next. So last but not least, in 2020, we started an oyster restoration program in Cold Spring Pond. I worked with Trustee Warner most closely on this, and also Trustee Pell on this, because this area is in his jurisdiction. And this site is off the Trustee Access Road that's furthest north as you're going down to the bay there. So we access through that Trustee Road. There's a bulkhead and a shed down at the end there. And we currently have 15 floating cages. We have our own license through the New York State DEC. And also we've had a recurring letter of permission from the Southampton Town Trustees. All right, next. So just kind of a quick overview. Early in the season, we actually have some bottomlands that the organization owns in Great Peconic Bay. We work with Bart Burke from Happy Oyster Company. He also works for Cornell Cooperative, so some of you may know him. He always gives us a hand, and we retrieve some bottom cages from our site out in Great Peconic Bay. We also, this past year, we purchased 125,000 seeds, so this is pretty small, 4 to 6 millimeters, from Eros Aquaculture in Southold. Next. And then throughout the season, we do open education and outreach sessions. So every 2 to 3 weeks during the growing season, we've had school groups, we've had casual volunteer groups, you name it. So we're down there sometimes flipping the cages to air dry, changing out bags. And again, if you haven't been down there, please reach out and we'll be happy to let you know when our next session is going to be. We'll probably be starting up sometime in June. Next. And then later in the season, we seed the oysters, all currently back in Southampton town waters. So we have had some foundation support for this. We've also had support from Advanced Wastewater Solutions. They've as a corporate partner. And we've been really focusing on putting the oysters back in some of the established Southampton town shellfish sanctuaries. So I just want to commend the trustees on that, because I believe you're the only township on the East End that really has these established shellfish sanctuaries, not only in Shinnecock Bay, but also in a number of spots in the Peconics. And those are all on the, they're not detailed on these maps, but they are on the town maps. So this is Red Creek Pond. This past year we put close to 40,000 oysters in there, and then I have the sizes. This is all included in the report I distributed as well. Next. Cold Spring Pond, this area in the northeast corner there, that's an area that I worked with Ed Warner and James on establishing. So we actually created a small sanctuary area in that spot. That buoy to the right is a buoy that we actually put out to kind of mark that. It just says no take. And that's consistent with some of the other sanctuaries in the town, I believe many of which were set up originally with the Nature Conservancy. So we wanted kind of a consistency there. So it's just a chain through mooring buoy there. All right, next. And then we also put oysters in North Sea Harbor, right by Conscience Point. That's a shellfish sanctuary. Next. These two spots are new areas that we put oysters in this year under the recommendation of Ed Warner. One is Old Fort Pond. It's almost across from the SUNY Stony Brook Marine Station. And the other one is along the east side of Taylor Creek there. So we're going to go back, hopefully when the water warms up a bit, and see how those are doing. You likely all know this, but you know, with oysters or any shellfish, they can do really well in one spot. Doesn't mean they're going to do really well in other spots, and there's going to be variability from year to year. So we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket, but we do want to kind of get a baseline and see what's doing what in each area. And then later in the season, we did that white right there is where our Oyster Grant bottomland is in Great Peconic Bay, and we do sink a few cages. We put 10 down there. It'll be interesting to see where they are in a few weeks. So we sunk those down, and the idea is that some of those oysters are overwintered. We pull them up in the spring, put them back in the nursery, and that way we're getting more growth out of it. But it's always rolling the dice with the weather, so we try and kind of split the difference and put what's big enough back in the water when we can. One thing I just want to mention, and I believe this was on the last agenda and it's been postponed, is I know the Peconic Estuary Partnership is interested in a bulkhead removal project. They have some funding. It doesn't have to be in Southampton town, but it does have to be in the Peconic Estuary. And for the record, I suggested the site at Cold Spring Pond as a potential candidate. because there is a bulkhead there that's been there, I don't know, for many decades. I don't know if they're aware of all the intricacies of our program. We are supportive of that. I just want you aware that it is important for us, hopefully, as long as you continue to allow us permission for the site, it is important for us to retain access, as well as the public. But I think that can be done. But we would appreciate being part of that conversation if you choose to go that route. Next. And then last but not least, so this season we seeded a little over 153,000 oysters. Our totals since 2020 are a little under 400,000. So this year was a really big year, lots of volunteers. We worked with the Peconic Estuary Partnership was funding a study with Stony Brook University where they were doing some aquaculture studies. And they actually, those are the people down the lower right, they put some sensors and other data collecting devices on our gear. So we're always kind of happy to partner with anybody that wants. And then we also deployed some bay scallop spat collectors to just kind of get an assessment if we're still getting any bay scallop spawning success in Cold Spring Pond. And then I think second to last slide. And then looking forward, we're planning on resuming this program next year as long as the trustees are in support. We'd like to kind of pursue looking into some of the existing Southampton Town sanctuary sites for feasibility for oyster restoration. We'd like to put out some more of these spat collectors and see if we only put out about 6 or so this year, and we got them in kind of late, but I think we got around 200 or so scallops larger scallops by the end of it. So we want to see if we can get more scallops. Because Cold Spring Pond in particular, even the first year of the die-off, was one of the few spots that actually maintained harvest. So there's something going on in there that seems pretty conducive to bay scallops with respect to the rest of the Peconics. And last but not least, I just wanted to thank you all for the past support of the trustees, Advanced Wastewater Solutions for their sponsorship, and our volunteers. So I know that was a lot. Hopefully, it gives you a little bit of overview of what we do. But we're happy to be a partner in environmental issues. Happy to be a resource, and happy to answer questions if any of you have any.
I just wanted to say thank you, Pete, and also having gone down to Cold Spring, when you were doing your oyster farming, it was fantastic to see that and to witness what you guys do, and just to see the dedication of you and your volunteers to do that. That's great. So having witnessed that, it's great. So
Yeah, and I'll second that. I've been on a number of your volunteer organizational outings, and they're pretty incredible, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
definitely, definitely would want to do more. So let us know.
My only ask is you will be getting a mooring fee waiver request in a couple weeks, so. That's
a
my
big
only big
ask.
ask from the
That's a
town.
big
so.
ask.
But I should mention the trustees we do keep a boat in Red Creek Pond right from our office.
Yeah.
Across from our office, so the trustees have been supportive of.
Of course, yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna reach out to you guys about doing the stream walkthrough.
Yeah, and I'd love to show you that. We've been doing that for a while.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, this was really informative. Thank you.
This is great.
All right, thank you all. I'm
Ask a
gonna
question
sit back
real
for
quick?
yeah.
North Sea Road, those
Yes.
barrels, when are they gonna put the guardrail back up? Because I
I
have
have-
visions of
so-
of some drunk on a Saturday night putting his car in the
Yeah,
drink.
I believe last year, maybe it was the year before, I don't know. I actually, there was somebody that kind of veered off. So the county, if you don't know, has had these plans. The reason why I've been on them about this is they've had these plans to resurface North Sea Road.
Yes.
It's fallen into a bit of back and forth because the county wanted sidewalks and North Sea residents
Didn't
don't. Part of that plan supposedly is that they want to do some stormwater abatement However, they have not, we were kind of hoping that maybe they would also address some of the culvert issues. However, this has dragged on for years and years, and there's literally been, it just continues to get worse. And I know Legislator Welker is aware of this, as are a number of other folks, so we're trying to, every year, we're trying to put some pressure on the county.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I just
Let's
wanted
ask
to,
one thing,
I
I
have
told her
one
not to
quick-
forget.
So I just wanted to extend an invitation to all of you. Friday is our winter watershed walk in Southampton. We'll be at Long Pond Greenbelt, and we would love to have anyone join us.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, we have the Moliere presentation. That's,
Yeah,
yeah.
um,
Am I pronouncing
yeah.
that right?
Moeller, right?
Moliere?
Don and Ken could
Don,
come on
hi.
down.
Thank
and-
you. It looks French to me.
Don and Ken, right?
Is there a gentleman from Moliere available to speak as well?
Moliere should be available online,
Okay, great.
Ready to make a presentation.
Bringing them in. Thank you. Do you wanna-
just,
The sign in there, that'd be great.
just to let you know, we are local representatives for Moliere, and we're the boots on the ground that come to folks like you
Introduce
to
themselves.
talk about this new technology that really is quite incredible.
Yeah.
And
Could you identify
Do you mi-
yourselves
yeah,
for
do
the
you
record?
Jonathan is
Hi,
on
Jonathan.
board.
Just introducing yourselves.
Hello,
Just
town
to
trustees.
introduce
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you guys today. Sorry I couldn't be in person. I'm over here in balmy Minnesota, so yeah. Sorry I've been sending so much cold weather your guys' way, but yeah, look forward to talking to you guys a little bit today. I do have some slides I can share if you guys would like that as well.
Yeah.
Sure,
I
we're
love
just
it.
in the process of everybody introducing themselves, so.
Okay.
You guys
Can you
introduce
start
yourselves.
for us? Thank you.
Sure, go ahead, Don.
My name is Don Kehoe, again, Ken's partner. We're Medoki Environmental. We represent a few environmental technologies, and Moliere is right at the top of one of the technologies we represent. They're having a lot of good success, and John will be able to take care of a lot of the information for you.
I'm Ken Conan with Medoki, and I'll echo what Don just said.
Right now, it's 12:42 p.m.
Over to
All
John.
right, John, whenever you're
Yeah,
ready.
whenever you're ready,
Don,
we're
do you
good.
wanna-
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will just go here. Oh, that's not it. There we go. You guys should be able to see PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
Good deal.
Yes.
So, I'll get right into it. So my name's John Morales. I came from 10 years as a program manager at the Middle Fork Crow River Watershed District. And it was during my time there that I was looking for a solution to hydrogen sulfide impairment on a lake in the northern part of our watershed, and found Moliere as a application that's able to bring in oxygen and gas, essentially gas, into a liquid very efficiently. I was tasked by our board of directors to do due diligence on Moliere, and I'll talk a little bit more about what came of that. But long story short, I was able to join the team here, and yeah, it's quite a team. So we've got projects across the world, over 4,000 installations throughout the world. 650 of those are specifically in surface water. The company's got about 100 people, but 15 of those people are PhDs. And that's important because, yes, we are a manufacturer of nanobubble generators in a number of different forms, but we're more of an environmental consulting firm in that we have the people that know how to apply this, that know how to use this tool. For example, Dr. Denise DeVoe is our senior linologist. She worked for the UN, Singapore government, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. She's, yeah, very gifted gal. Shane Hoyt's a Harvard-trained linologist, also working on the surface water team and really helping us monitor and interpret our data, because everything that we're doing, we're leading with data, and we try to use that to help educate people and show exactly what we're doing in our environment. So I doubt many people have gone to school for nanobubbles, so just a quick briefing on what are nanobubbles. So traditional aeration relies on depth of water column for gas transfer. You essentially usually have diffusers on the bottom of a water and gas or air being pumped through those and percolating up throughout the water column. The key thing with nanobubbles is that they're neutrally buoyant. They don't float, right? So this allows us a lot more efficiency as far as getting that gas transfer, but also more importantly, getting those oxygen bubbles down into that sediment water interface. And how we do that is this, pretty much fairly simple system of a pump that takes water out of the environment or out of that water body, passes it through our system and directly back into the water body. Then we have a gas side of the system, which essentially is taking gas, whether that be ambient air. We also typically in surface water application use a concentrated oxygen, and we're using AirSep oxygen concentrators for that, essentially just taking off the nitrogen and using a more pure form of oxygen for that seed gas. And then the nanobubble generator itself. It has no moving parts and is essentially leveraging Henry's law of liquid under pressure can absorb and accept gas, and we're putting it in both in its dissolved state but also in nanobubbles, which really allows us to leverage that unique capacity of nanobubbles. If there's any questions while I'm presenting, feel free to interrupt. I'm here for you guys, so please, feel happy to answer any questions on the fly here. So here are a few of our units in the wild. So this is a project out in Lake Elsinore, second largest lake in California, 3,300 acres. We do have some smaller units that go more for a residential location where they're just trying to treat a pond or a smaller area. This one in the upper right-hand corner is actually an emergency deployment where we just shipped in our core technology, just this tube here essentially, and then rented local assets so that we could really quickly address this issue that we found with a fish kill in this bay here. This is one of our mobile solutions that has the whole system, but it's all in a trailer. So we're able to move that around for like pilots, things like that. And yeah, here are a few other options. But one in the bottom right-hand corner is an interesting unit. It's our Neo series. It's sort of our largest sort of prosumer size applications, and really a good flexible solution as well in the right circumstances. But just so that we're all sort of on the same page, I'm going to just talk a little bit over on what is the state of our waters. Really sadly, a lot of them are suffering from internal loading and external nutrient loading, and that results in this positive feedback loop of eutrophication from excess production in the lake. So as you get excess nutrients, and I'm sure you guys understand this, but just to make sure we're all on the same page, that manifests itself in overproduction, whether that be algal production, excess vegetation, things like that, green water, right? As that cycle continues and that biomass dies and goes to the bottom of your lake, it accumulates. And because there is a large oxygen demand needed for decomposition of that material, and with the issues facing lakes, there isn't sufficient oxygen, there's some bad things that happen in that situation. So Yes, you have accumulation of material, of organics, and that's largely because of an anaerobic environment conducive to anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria aren't very efficient. They sort of sit down there and don't do a lot of work, don't do decomposition. And then from a chemical standpoint, when you have an anoxic sediment water interface, you release nutrients from those soils. They become unbound from metals, iron, manganese, things like that. So none of that's unique to Moliere. That's just sort of limnology 101 as far as anoxic sediment water interfaces and how that works. How we switch that around is simply by oxygen. But in the past, like I said, oxygen hasn't really been able to efficiently get down into those sediments and really start to convert that environment to a more oxic state. But when you are able to do that, you're working on those two same modes of action. One being from the biological standpoint, you're starting to facilitate and create an environment that allows for aerobic bacteria. And the best analogy that I have with this one is, why do you turn a compost pile? Is to get oxygen in there, to get that bacteria woke up, to get decomposition started. Same thing happens in your lake when you're able to get oxygen down to that sediment water interface. And then from the chemical standpoint, rather than leaching or letting go of nutrients from soils, you're able to bind those nutrients, specifically phosphorus, in those soils and hold them in those bonds with iron and manganese. Does that make sense, everybody? There's sort of some key slides there. Good deal. So I'm going to go through 4 case studies here. I'll try to be quick with it. So Tad Lake was actually the project that I did while I was a program manager at the Middle Fork Crow River Watershed District. Having been tasked to do due diligence on Moliere by our board of directors, they wanted to see how did it work in our neck of the woods. So we selected a chain of lakes, Tad Lake being downstream of Upper Lake, and we sort of devised it as this sort of classical experimental design, with Tad Lake being the treatment and Upper Lake being the control. And over the summer, Tad Lake maintained really actually amazing water quality considering what it has been in the past. It has curly leaf pondweed, eutrophic lake, and was subject to a lot of harmful algal blooms, that blue-green algae that can potentially be toxic. So throughout the season, I monitored this. We did a number of different types of monitoring, but through that, we saw 2 times clearer water in Tad compared to Upper, 2 times higher over bottom DO, 4 times lower orthophosphate, and 4 times less total algal loads. And what was really interesting with the algal loads is the Upper Lake exhibited predominantly blue-green algae, algae that's really not very good because of cyanobacteria and its potential to release hepatotoxins and things like that are really bad for wildlife and people. Whereas Tad Lake, it really didn't show that species composition, and it actually had a more diverse range of beneficial algae, so sort of outcompeting that blue-green algae. Lake Elsinore, this is one of our largest applications. It's City of Lake Elsinore. It's the Lake Elsinore lake, and that is 3,300 acre lake. We've got 3 units out there, and they've been suffering from harmful algal blooms, poor water quality for years and years. Millions of dollars have been thrown at this lake trying to fix it, and they've never really been able to crack the code, really get it to a more clean water state. And I can keep throwing stats at you, but I feel the most impactful image that I've seen as far as Lake Elsinore is this one. So looking back all the way to December 2014, you can see every December they're in this harmful algal bloom state where it's proliferating throughout the water body. We installed in March of 2024, and and had this kind of impact. So you can see, yeah, it's a real application and real solution. Actually, to the point where the city manager said that, yeah, this is a game changer for Lake Elsinore, delivering actual tangible improvements. I was actually out there 2 weeks ago and was showing some folks around and was eating at a little barbecue joint along the shore there, and our server was just so kind. She talking to her, and she said the other towns used to call us Lake Smell some more, and really, they felt bad about it, but they were right. Like, it was a stinky lake. But with the new project and the new water quality, they're seeing hope in the lake again. They actually had $900 million of new investment coming into their community with this, with the new water quality, and really doubling down on the city of Lake Elsinore, that really, its namesake. This is sort of close to my area again, Lake Arrowhead, Wisconsin. This is a pilot project that we looked at in anticipation of a full lake project. And I want to draw your guys' attention to this bottom right-hand map. So we use biobase monitoring, mapping to gauge sediment hardness and bathymetry. And what really was striking about this project was over 75 days, we were able to decompose a foot of muck using our system. So in the upper map, you can see sort of these yellows and oranges, more indicative of a softer, more organic sediment. Whereas 75 days later, you see this transition from this yellow to a more red, a harder substrate, and yeah, not that organic material, but also not leaching those nutrients out of those soils. This is also a really cool project. This is actually how I found Moliere, was looking for a hydrogen sulfide H2S impairment project. And they actually won a Global Water Award in 2022 for this mitigation of a chemical spill in this tidal stormwater channel. So what happened was this was essentially hand sanitizer facility caught fire. Firemen came, put it out, but in putting it out, it washed a lot of that chemical into that water body and started immediately taking out all the oxygen. So that resulted in off-gassing of hydrogen sulfide to the point where 3,000 people were displaced out of their home. And city of San Diego had to hold them, in hotels, costing them millions of dollars. And we were able to come in and remediate this. Other consultants looked at it and said they were going to essentially have to build a water treatment facility. But within 3 weeks, we were able to get people back in their homes. And through that treatment window of October of 2021 to March of 2022, we completely remediated the area. Here's just a simple picture of a channel that a distributor of mine was working in. And yeah, just the images were just so impactful here, seeing what it was and that transition state. So this is one of those smaller Neo-sized units that I have there. So short term, you see in the first 1 to 2 months, elevated DO, elevated oxidation reduction potential, improvement in water clarity, and less foul odors. And after you get that sediment water environment transitioning to a more oxic state, you start to see a lot of those other things that I've been talking to you guys about. For me, it was really exciting to see this as an application because tools in the toolbox that we have for internal lake loading are fairly minimal. Things like alum that'll bind to phosphorus really aren't a holistic approach that really can coat the bottom of your lake in that alum. And that's a very important interface for a lot of biological interactions. And you're really not addressing that oxygen demand when doing these kinds of projects. Mechanical dredging is another way in the past that we've managed that internal loading, just removing that organic component. But again, that's incredibly invasive. It's very expensive and really, yeah, you're essentially clear cutting your lake. So not a real great solution there. And then, yeah, nanobubbles. I was, yeah, very impressed with what I saw and happy to be on the Moliere team here. So got a lot of different options for how we approach projects. We do nanobubbles as a service. We can do leases, capital purchases, lease to own. So yeah, a lot of flexibility there. Understanding that yes, we are a new technology, but at the same time, really want to work with folks to size this, to understand their environment, and to apply it with you guys. So that is the quick and dirty there.
That's great. Yeah. We, here in Southampton Town, we're dealing with recurring issues of, we call them harmful algal blooms, cyanobacteria, blue-green algae, same thing. And there's a lot of interest in finding ways to remediate it without resorting to things like alum. Actually, the DEC has just recently said that they would not allow alum to be used.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's
Right, and-
forward thinking.
Right.
I wish Minnesota could follow suit.
Yeah, and we really, yeah, the trustee board, we're very suspicious of that. Anytime you're adding some sort of chemical that's going to be accumulating in that environment, especially seeing how the areas that would be treated are upstream of, oyster habitat,
Yeah.
shellfish habitat, things that we're trying to protect.
Right.
And so we're very actively looking at ways that we can manage these harmful algae blooms while at the same time rectifying the cause. The cause is the input of organics. It's been decades where, organic matter from farms or from road runoff or home runoff has been accumulating in the bottoms of these ponds, and that's really what's driving these harmful algae blooms.
Exactly.
So we're very interested in solutions that, in this case, there's no toxic residue. There's no legacy issue that we would be creating, trying to solve problem A and in turn creating problem B.
Yeah, and a lot of that, when you start using chemicals, you almost get into that cycle of dependency on them. And the only way you can get any water quality is through adding more chemicals. And that's not really building that environment up. In the presence of oxygen, you don't have the side effects. You have, a lot of good things happen when you give oxygen to environment. We work with some of the largest aquaculture farms, Salmar, out in Norway, also down in Chile. So yeah, it's really cool to see something so benign but powerful really helping us manage our environment. And I guess one other sort of closing thought that I had through, so I presented that Tad Lake study at the Minnesota Watersheds Conference, and this was before I was with Moliere, but really came to the idea of, people are really bad at, sort of the tragedy of the commons, loving our resources to death. And our lakes are seeing pressures that they've never really seen before. I would say almost unnatural. So to really think that natural processes can keep up with what we're throwing at lakes is a hard thing to do. And having done a lot of upland management practices, swales, all that stormwater stuff, it's difficult to get to that threshold of projects where you really start to impact your water body. Not to say that those aren't important. They are. I 100% believe in watershed management. Taught a lot of fourth graders, how do you manage water? By taking care of the land. But at the same time, I do feel that we need to give our environment, another breath, right? Give it some oxygen to really start to remediate those legacy impacts, but in a more environmentally friendly way. So.
John, I just had a quick question regarding that. My name is Sarah, by the way, and I'm speaking to you here. But
Thank you, Sarah.
So do you need those other mitigations, like from the land, taking care of the watershed, in order for this to work? I know that that's one thing that people were talking about with alum, is that the success really comes from mitigating the runoff. And
Yep.
if you don't stop the runoff, then really you're not really going to be solving much of the problem. And I was wondering that, along with how long it usually takes in its entirety? Like, how many treatment cycles do you see that these water bodies have to go through? Is it just kind of like you have it in there for 6 months and it's better? Does it need to be treated again? Like that type of?
Yeah, good questions, really good questions. So on the, as far as external loading, yes, like alum dredging, they're passive processes. So unless you've really addressed your external load, you're always going to be covering up that alum. You're always going to be bringing more sediment in. And because of the passive nature on that, you're going to always have to come back, redredge, or add more alum. Because this is an active system, it is continually treating that water. So that sort of goes to the answer your second question there. How long do you treat it? Well, that is very much a factor of how much organics you have, what is that legacy nutrient load in your lake, and also what is your external load. So how much of that is remediated. What we've seen with projects over time, what they'll do is just start to run it less months out of the year. And that is all based on real-time data. So when we put these systems in, we use telemetry-based monitoring systems where we're gathering real-time data, seeing those trends, a lot of times doing some bio-based monitoring alongside it so that we a common method in any kind of lake management is adaptive management, right? Sort of looking at the data, reassessing, going forward, and with this, we're able to be flexible with how we use it, and also with some of the types of gas that we use. So yes, we use oxygen predominantly, but in the situation where we're really looking to increase oxidation reduction, sorry, got a little bit of a cold here. Oxidation reduction potential, ORP, we do use prescriptively some ozone. And that is looked at as part of the lake's total organic carbon, and how we dose that is in as a process additive. So it is not ozonating the lake. There is no detectable ozone at the outlet of the unit. We are far, far below any level where we would be having actual ozone in the unit. But it does help with the process stream, and actually Denise, working with NOAA, is looking at, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, looking at that as a real powerful tool for mitigation of harmful algal blooms.
Is it the sort of thing where on first treatment of a body of water, you would start with ozone, and then as you digest the muck layer, you may not necessarily need to use so much ozone in year 2, 3, 4, something like that?
Yeah, yep. Again, it's very much adaptive management in that regard, but yeah, it's a variable system, so you can turn it off, turn it on, or turn it on, turn it off. Yeah.
Hi, John, Jimmy Mack, trustee Jimmy Mack, and unlike my esteemed colleague here, I am not a marine biologist, but it seems to me, maybe this is more of a comment, it seems like a safe and simple, effective way of dealing with a serious problem. How come nobody thought of it before?
Yeah, and it's the technology. So because we are a 10-year-old company now, it is a little newer technology, and we've tried to use oxygen to mitigate these issues in the past, but again, never really had the ability to meet that sediment oxygen demand that's constantly trying to pull oxygen out, and never really had a good mechanism to get that oxygen down into the soil and hold it there at a level where you really start to promote a lot of these, facilitate these natural processes.
I have
So, just technology catching up.
Another question about the muck levels. Like in New York State, maybe, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the DEC, but there's sediment quality that it gets graded essentially, like A, B, C. C is the worst kind of sediment. And I'm wondering if there's ever a case where there's too much bad stuff in the sediment that this technology would not work.
Like a D or an F?
Yeah, no, so, yeah, we're learning more and more as we go on. We have shown some effectiveness with mercury, so mercury's a legacy toxic, element that we have in our environment really bad in Minnesota lakes because it bioaccumulates in fish. So we are studying this as much and as, vigorously as we can, really looking at, the things that we really know initially, but as we learn more about this, we understand more on how it can impact other contaminants in the environment, such as PFAS, mercury, other, sort of harmful elements and pollution sources. So I'm not sure exactly how, and if you could give me, if you have any like feasibility studies for dredging or sediment analysis, I'd gladly take a look at that. That would probably be good. Well, that would definitely be going over to Dr. Denise. But yeah, we take any and all info that you have, and if we see sort of a lack or a hole in the data, we work with you guys to devise monitoring plans that will fill that in.
Do you have any units currently operating in New York or any projects anticipated in New York?
Yep. So Lake Ronkonkoma, we're likely going to be going in there.
Right here on the island,
Also,
right.
also in Central Park, working with Princeton Hydro. Scott Churn with Princeton Hydro, just working out electricity there. But we're going to be implementing at the boathouse in Central Park there. Had problems with harmful algal blooms there, so coming in to treat that. Sort of a little further south from you guys, but we do have a project going in that's active in Titusville, Florida, and the Indian River Lagoon. It's estuary environment, and partnered with the Florida Tech and Brevard County Natural Resources on that project to monitor it. Local to me, we have a number of projects in Minnesota and Wisconsin, working with the Department of Natural Resources on those. Also working with the University of Wisconsin, University of Minnesota from the stormwater perspective with their St. Anthony Falls Hydro Lab. We really try to, whenever we can, distance ourselves from the data so that you guys can be confident that it was gathered in an impartial manner. And then we're able to rely on that data. You guys are able to rely on that data, and it can really tell the story of these environments accurately.
Well, the reason why I ask, so the DEC knows about you, and have they approved Lake Ronkonkoma yet, or?
Not yet. Not yet.
We still need to, I believe they know a little bit, but we need more conversations with DEC.
And John, Joe McLaughlin here, and I've spoken to Ken many times, as well as Don, about some more bodies in my area, and also, is there a limit as to the depth of sediment? Because I know in the famous Lake Agawam, there's about 6 feet of sediment in the bottom of that lake, and also, as Sarah alluded to, it has probably the most toxic sediments that you can have in terms of how bad it is. So I just didn't know, and I know Dr. Goldberg has been working very diligently with the Conservancy to solve this problem, or to at least mitigate it to the best of our abilities. And I'm sure I'll talk to Don about this next few weeks, but I just didn't know if there was a limit as to your technology, as to the depth of the sediment or the toxicity, as Sarah alluded to earlier.
I was saying, yeah.
Yeah. It's time is the limiting factor there, right? So as you decompose the sediment, and depending on how much you have there, it's going to take obviously more time. You can't undo years and years of loading and legacy, nutrients in a water body in a short, super short amount of time. So, the projects are ongoing projects, but no, as far as limiting it, no, I wouldn't say there's a limitation. It's more just it takes time, it takes some time to do that.
Yeah, 'cause
And then we are looking forward to talking to Gobler. I think Ken and John are working, Ken and Don are working diligently to get us all connected, and yeah, look forward to working with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, proceeding with his crew as well, because yeah, it sounds like they have some potential to use their labs to do some monitoring. And again, having been a watershed scientist for 10 years, I love data. So anytime we have an opportunity to gather some data, especially with a gifted lab, we jump at that opportunity.
Well, we look forward to
Yeah,
hearing more
thank
from
you.
you guys.
If
Thank you
could
very
keep,
much. Yeah.
This is Hannah Pello-Farrell. If you could keep us up to date on your Ronkonkoma project and
Yeah,
whenever you meet with Chris
please.
Gobler and Stony Brook, that'd be really appreciative, but.
Absolutely.
I'd like to try and set up, we should probably deal directly with Don and Ken initially, right?
Yeah, yep. They know everything that I've told you guys. And yeah, happy to, come on and talk with you guys again in the future. But yeah, Ken and Don, you're in good hands there for sure.
Great, because we have a couple of
Yeah.
pilot projects that we've kind of identified here that we think would be good first uses, first trials, where we really, if we can get all the approvals and funding, we would love to start and try this and see if it works.
Thanks so much. Yes, I look forward to that. And yeah, work with Ken and Don. Just as we're leading with data on the backside of the projects, watching for effectiveness, any data that you can provide beforehand allows us to size the technology, size our application, and really look at the environment and how we best use our tech with it. I work with Dr. Denise on that, and yeah, look at bathymetry, look at what is the turnover on the lake, any, as far as monitoring of nutrients, sediment data, all that. So whatever you have, we'd love to take a look at it.
Very good, yeah, we'll be in touch, I guess. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right,
Take
good.
care, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You as well.
All right.
We're, yeah, I'm interested. I
Yeah.
really,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm interested.
specifically.
I think we
Yeah,
all are.
right.
Yeah.
Specifically, Silverbrook and Mill Pond are the two spots that I've identified as, they're impaired.
Thanks,
They're
Pete.
having harmful algal
I mean,
blooms.
speaking of time, this has already gone on for almost 40 minutes. I think we should
Yeah.
circle back.
Yeah,
Just so we
we're gonna
can,
have- Yeah.
not that I want to cut anyone off,
So
but,
maybe let's set up a meeting at the trustee office with you gentlemen and
Yeah.
whoever wants to be involved.
We'll love to take-
Give us a call.
we can rotate.
We're
Whenever you're
available
ready,
anytime.
we're at.
Okay.
Thank
If you
you.
have any questions ahead of time, let us know, and we'll make sure to get an answer from
Super.
John or Dr.
Thanks,
DeVona
guys.
if we need to.
Beautiful, yeah, but I think at this, we got to start getting some details in order. Have you got, so you guys have reached out to DEC about Ronkonkoma? Like,
You're waiting to hear back.
We're just at the surface level with the DEC at this point.
So you haven't broken water yet, okay.
No, I believe John has had a couple of contacts with them. I don't
Okay.
really expect, basically, it's aeration,
Right, right.
which is already
Right.
approved.
Right.
right, yeah, 'cause
Right.
we already have a
We're not
bubble.
adding
It's not-
any
it's a bu-
chemicals,
bubbler system, right?
we're
You're not-
adding
Right.
bubbles.
Right.
Yeah.
From air.
Right.
Because we've already got a bubbler system going at Silverbrook.
Yes,
There's
I
already
know.
electric,
And-
there's already a
and it's-
machine there.
And it's not
working.
necessarily doing very
Right.
much.
Right.
It would be very, I think, educational to compare what's happened at Silverbrook
Yeah.
with a nanobubble solution.
Okay.
Because that Silverbrook drains right into the Peconics, and I know Pete and Alexa are very interested in that as well.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm down there a lot. I put that floating wetland in. I was there like every week or two, just checking on it, and
Yeah.
then, the water just turned brown in late August.
I think this is a very viable solution to the problems that you're experiencing throughout the town.
Right.
And while every lake or pond is different, the
They're also kind of the
science
same.
will
Yeah.
determine
Exactly.
which way to go on certain things. So,
Yeah.
Very
be more
good.
than happy to,
Thank you so much.
Great.
We're looking
you.
forward to working together.
Continue to
We'll
talk.
talk to you guys soon.
Congratulations to
Thank
everybody,
you.
by the
Yes.
way.
Thank you very much.
Great.
exactly. And we're just a phone call away.
Yeah.
So,
We will be in touch.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you,
Awesome.
gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
All right, yeah, we'll get together real soon.
Thank you, everyone.
sounds good. Thanks, John.
Start to put some plans together here.
Thanks, John.
We'll start to put the plans together soon, yeah.
Great.
I'm going away next week, but as soon as I get back, we'll start to,
Hope someplace warm.
yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be warm by the time we get there.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
In a lot of spots. Jessica, I'm gonna leave these with you. It's just some basic information that there's a copy for everybody here, so.
Great. Thank you.
Charlotte.
All right.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Thank you very much.
Jessica had to step out, so, can we move on?
Sure can.
To, make a motion to open public hearing number 1?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And, counsel?
Yes.
Would you like to explain the details of this blue
Surely.
book amendment? And I know Ed's gonna be around for this.
Ed
Stick
was the
around?
original sponsor of
Right.
this, and I believe
you, Ed.
would be the best able to speak to us about
Okay.
this.
You want to
Yeah.
come down?
You wanna, Ed, you wanna come up and help us out?
Ed Warner, I was a past trustee, so I was approached by several of the baymans in Southampton Town asking why Quonic Bay wasn't allowed for shellfish harvest. Prior to my being on the board for almost 20 years, the trustees had closed it. They did a project removing some clams out of Quonic River and putting them in an area in Quonic Bay, and the Nature's Conservancy had done a monitoring report on them on their survival rating, and they were doing assays of the shellfish to see how they were surviving and whether they, because of the brown tide. And what they came up with, I believe, the final determination report, it was the water had become very acidic, and it actually, the clams where they were sitting in the bottom, the tops of them actually got porous and they all pretty much died. Fast forward to 2020, I'm going to say 2020, 2021, realizing there's very large sets of shellfish in eastern Shinnecock Bay and western Shinnecock Bay with the shellfish restoration, being that the tides go both ways in Quonic, east and west. Some of the baymen had thoughts maybe we should ask the trustees if they would open it up. It's certified seasonally with the DEC, but the trustees have it closed for shellfish harvesting, making it a sanctuary. I had worked on with James Duryea and your attorney Joe Lombardo to kind of segregate out an area, leaving the northern part of Quonic Bay a sanctuary and drawing a line across, and in the southern part of it have it open for shellfish harvest. So that's what this public hearing is about, And basically the whole South Shore Estuary all the way from Nassau County all the way out to eastern Shinnecock Bay, there have been some pretty substantial sets of clams, as you alluded to, a 1,500% increase in clams in eastern Shinnecock Bay. So they were asking maybe having it open. It's a good place in the winter to work because it's very sheltered from the wind. So that's why I had put this proposal together.
Thank you.
So this is just opening up a portion of that area?
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
not the whole
because
thing.
the northern portion where it's going to be closed, we actually work with Cornell, and they
Right.
oysters spat on shell, and we put some of those oysters in that area. So we didn't want them disturbed.
Right.
So
Right.
we're going to monitor them to see how they grow. Maybe you guys can add to them and get some kind of analysis going, what's going on in Quonic Bay. Basically, it's been closed for well over 20 years, and no one that I know has harvested any shellfish out of there. So it's one of these areas we don't really know if it's flourishing or if it's a demise. I mean, it was a very productive, an extremely productive area in the 60s and 70s. Actually, in like 75 and 76, I was clamming up there. My mother would actually drive me up to my uncle's boathouse in East Cork, and I'd go clamming there. So I remember like 50 or 60 guys clamming in Quonic Bay, and there was eelgrass in there, and it was an extremely productive area for steamers and hard clams. Never so much oysters, but now that we've started to introduce oysters, and oysters have really taken in the South Shore Estuary, especially in around Shinnecock Canal in that area. So maybe to get some kind of harvesting going back in there, and it's only going to be a limited harvest because it's only a seasonal area. It's open part of the area.
and it's open to part of the air, it's open in the time when the clams are actually down in the bottom, so you're not gonna harvest, or shellfish, you're not gonna harvest all the shellfish. And turning the bottom over has been always a philosophy of the Bayman Association and the Bayman and also the trustees to turn that bottom over and make it more productive, and that's always worked out very well for the shellfish.
Would you consider, reaching out to should we reach out to Cornell and have them do some sort of survey work, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's either that or just open it up. I mean, it's already certified. I mean, I wouldn't, I think it's a process that we're gonna get into. I mean, it's probably gonna close in the end of March, so most of the season's gone, but something to look forward to next year. Get a process where either, I mean, when the clams are harvested, the New York State is gonna have basically a calculation of how many clams comes out of, I believe, SS 111, that would be the area, so you would actually know, the board would know, they can ask the shell fisheries at the state how many clams come out of there, so you know how much production is there, or have Cornell go in there, this spring or something, and do grabs around different places in the bay to get some kind of estimate on the shellfish population, kind of like Chris Gobler does in the restoration area in Western and Shinnecock Bay and Tyne Bay. He puts the shellfish in specific sanctuaries, and then you do sector grabs around it to see the recruitment, what has happened as far as recruitment.
Yeah, I would like to have Cornell or someone go in there and actually take some and study them and make sure that there is enough before we open it.
Well, I mean, it's one of these things that, you got basically West Hampton Canal, Cork Canal, and all the water goes through there. So it's just a question of, whether the clams that basically have set in eastern Shinnecock Bay have gone west, because, I mean, depending on the wind direction, all of that spawn can actually go from western Shinnecock Bay through Quantick, end up in Quantick or in Murch's Bay. So that whole area is all, it's basically depending on the wind direction and tides, you're going to get a set. But the question is there a set? And we were going to have Cornell do an actual study in there when I was on the board. I think there was some kind of discussion with, I believe, yourself and Mr. Lombardo, your attorney, how we're going to make an agreement with them so that they can come up with basically a good, analysis of what's going on there.
I'd also.
I like that.
Yeah, I want to have
Just
them.
to know what it's like since no one's
I
been in there
agree with you
for
because
decades.
as a bayman, you're always wondering why you're catching more clams and more shellfish and why. And I've always reached out to, somebody like Roger Tollefson, who had an engineering degree and knew a lot about the water and stuff like that. And then I reached out to Chris Gobler and then Greg Rivera to get the science to back up what you do as a board, because it makes it much easier to get grants and funding that way. That's how the whole Shinnecock Bay restoration came about, is that, they were using the science and doing the sanctuaries with the, blessing of the trustees, and it all partnered together, and it's worked out extremely well. And Murch's Bay project has done the same thing with Cornell. So, you got the science to back up your projects, and then you can get grants and other monies like that.
Cool. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. No, I think just spitballing in my head, I had been thinking about coming up, because East Hampton has like a bag program where they sell bags.
Right, you told me.
That's the sort of thing where if we were to do that, or if we were to open it, that would be a way for us to recoup our investment on paying for the science behind
Well,
it.
right now, as a harvester in New York State, you need to keep a logbook, and all the fishermen that would shellfish in Quantick Bay would have the logbook on the next cherries and chowders, the amount you catch, and the days you work, and the hours you work. So you pretty much would have all of that information right from the fishermen themselves.
Right. And it would be primarily hard clams and steamers.
Well, that was what was in there when I was harvesting. I don't know if there's oysters in there now, because oysters, the college has the oyster reef in eastern Cork Canal by the golf course, which probably a lot of that spat would head towards Quantick. And being Quantick has a lower salinity, it would be more of an appropriate place where the oysters would set. But I don't know if there's any substrate in there that, other than coral and stuff like that, there hasn't been any, basically any stuff, shells or anything put in there. that was one of the projects that myself and Trustee Marin were gonna do. We were gonna put the oysters on the shells in there, and then we were gonna add some oysters out of Quonic with a relay program, and then put some scallop shells in there in designated areas to see if we could catch any of the set that would happen during the spawns.
Right. Well, hopefully we can keep working with you on this, and we
Yeah.
can try to see that plan to fruition.
Well, I mean, yeah, I would like to, I mean, just seeing that's what has happened on the South Shore Estuary, basically all the way from Nassau out here, each one of the, border bodies on the South Shore, they have set in the last basically 6 or 7 years, more so in the last couple of years. So I would like to really know what's there, and I mean, if it's something that the baymen can harvest out of and make a living, that's a good thing. But if there's nothing there and it's a dead area,
Right.
maybe we need to look into what's happening. Maybe there's some kind of,
Yeah.
plume that's coming from the airport, because
The
allegedly
Strebels
that's-
is up there too.
well, allegedly, that was one of the thoughts of the Baymen's Association back in the, 90s, that because Quonic was basically such a, productive area for so many decades, and then all of a sudden, one year, it was dead. So, I mean, it would be
One
nice to
thing,
have it.
I've
answered.
seen old maps where there's an inlet there. You can imagine before the time of there being a dune road, that probably broke through regularly, like Mekong's did. And to allow that flush,
Yeah.
and then it would seal back up again, and then, this is going back to the 19th century probably, but, yeah.
It's just an idea, so I appreciate you letting me talk, and if you need any more information, I'm
We
willing to.
definitely need to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, right, because
No pun intended.
if there's a resource there, we may as well
Yeah.
try to allow it to be used.
Yes,
Right.
and it'll only be a limited time it's harvested because it's a seasonal area.
Right.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you, Ed.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Ed.
so much.
Yeah, maybe we'll reach out to, I'll reach out to Cornell.
Okay.
And we'll see if they can
Yeah.
take a look. I might just, as soon as the ice breaks.
Plus the landing records that they have to file with DEC and everything will give us, along with the Cornell information.
Get done until it's open, right?
Right, we would have to open it
Right,
first, right.
Do we hold this, or do we open it and then?
We'll close it.
Do we have anybody else that wants to speak?
Oh, okay.
Okay. We should sign him.
Oh, yes, right over here.
Grab that.
He can sit
You
there.
want to sit here?
Do you want to sit down?
Arthritis makes it hard to get up. And hold a pen.
So you're gonna reach out to Cornell?
Yeah. Let's start a new page.
What I'd like to talk to you guys about today is Rose Hill Road.
We're in a public hearing now, sir.
What do you mean?
This is
There's an
specific to
open hearing
Quantum.
right now. You're not testifying on the proposed change in the Blue Book?
What's that?
We're not on the public portion yet.
I thought we are.
No, we're just talking
Middle of
about
a public hearing.
We haven't, we're only on number one.
That's next.
So then I would recommend we close the public hearing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll let-
Go ahead.
I can't second what you said, right?
I can't,
No, you
I
need a
can't
motion.
make a motion. Somebody's
Make a
gotta
motion
make
to
it.
close the public
And I'll
hearing.
second that.
Who seconded? Sorry.
Not me, and all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
And public
Now we
comment.
have to.
Now it's public
Now it's
portion.
public.
Oh, I missed that part.
It's just about a specific topic, that's why.
Slight
Yeah.
distinction.
And if you could introduce yourself, that would be
Yes,
great.
please.
So you have.
3 minutes.
Okay.
We're doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know the letter because I tried to read it, and it's 5 minutes. And I'd like to start with this Old English nursery rhyme that really tells the whole story, what happened there.
I'm sorry, can you just introduce yourself to everybody, please?
Yes.
Your name.
Your name?
Steve Storch.
Thank you.
Watermill. Hang the man and flog the woman that steals the goose from off the commons. But let the greater villain loose that steals the commons from the goose. The law demands that we atone when we take the things we do not own, but leaves the lords and ladies fine to take the things that are yours and mine. So, are you familiar with the Rose Hill Road situation, with the trustee access? Okay, so the letter starts, "The stewards of our shared lands and waterways, we ask that Rose Hill Road not be forgotten. This historically significant access point to Mecox Bay remains unfinished business, one that calls for renewed collaboration, commitment, and vision. There is still important work to be done, and the time has come for freeholders to work alongside the trustees and the town of Southampton to restore Rose Hill Road to its rightful status as a public park. By acting together, freeholders and trustees can make meaningful, lasting improvements that protect public access, preserve Mecox Bay, and honor the historic and lawful use of Rose Hill Road access. This letter serves as a formal demand that Rose Hill Road Park be restored to its historic and lawful use as a public park, consistent with its established status in 1927, and that jurisdiction and stewardship over the land be properly acknowledged as resting with the Southampton Town Trustees on behalf of the freeholders. Rose Hill Road Park was duly established and used as a public park prior to and including 1927's. Land dedicated for public use on press with a public trust and may not be alienated, repurposed, or subject to competing jurisdiction absent clear legislative authority. And no such authority has been demonstrated to justify the continuing involvement of the town of Southampton in actions affecting this park. The ongoing conduct of the town of Southampton challenging or encroaching upon trustees' authority and freeholder rights constitutes a misuse of public funds and an unnecessary expenditure of time and resources. Such actions are contrary to the trustees' historic role and fiduciary obligation to protect lands held in trust for the benefit of freeholders and the public at large. The Southampton Town Trustees possess a well-established legal mandate to preserve and manage lands dedicated to public use.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was your 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
That's 3 minutes? Okay, well,
If you have a letter there, you can submit it to
You
the,
can- yeah, you
to
can have a
the,
copy.
Please.
to the lady on the end there for the record.
you need a copy of the little poem, too?
If you'd like, I can stamp it in for the record.
And as counsel, I would advise you, since there is litigation pending on this, we make no further comment. This is, he made his piece.
Thought that was coming. Thank you.
Yes.
See, and that's the biggest shame. And the guy hasn't cleared the snow off the driveway.
We're,
Yes, we know.
Thank you.
we're aware.
We're aware of
We're
that.
well aware, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Nice day.
And
To it.
next,
I think it's just the resolutions now.
okay. Public portion closed,
Second that.
all right. All in favor, closing
Aye.
public portion? Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous.
Busy day.
Wow, okay, so we're moving on to applications for permits. The first one is me, and it is Trust 226-0041 to recall and amend number 2025-26, application of Pratik Dalal, QPRT at 20 Ludlow Lane, Hampton Bays.
I'll second that.
You all in favor?
Aye.
And the next one is,
No, go. This is like a title page.
oh,
So this is like index. So what you do is skip ahead.
You don't need to, you can just read it off this
Read off that.
application for permits. unless somebody wants to, expand upon something, that should be sufficient.
Oh, okay, so we just read it off the
I
next
have-
page?
I
It
have-
makes it simpler?
Right.
Yeah, that would save some time.
Right?
When you get to the warrant, that's gonna require a detailed read into the record.
Okay. So, where was I? Okay, so Trust 2026-0042, the Swiss Air Resort, Inc. at 81 Tiana Road, Hampton Bays, number 900-257-3-2. Can I
I'll second that.
make a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
And the final one of mine, Trust 2026, oh, wait a minute, 004, is a first modification of Mark Roeder at 4 Stone Lane. I'd like to make a motion to amend on the floor the final sentence in that amendment.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
To amend.
And do I need to read that? Like to change that final sentence to permittee must obtain any and all approvals pursuant to the village code of the Village of Quogue and the town code of the town of Southampton. Okay, so like to make a motion to adapt that as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Then we're going on to Matt.
Okay, so I have trustee resolution 2026-0043. Second renewal application of Southampton Town at 4 Beaver Dam Road in West Hampton, New York, tax map 900-376-1-79.1. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second that.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I have resolution 2026 of 44, 2026, application of 8 Squabble Lane. 8 Squabble Lane, significant tax map 904-30-1-20. This is also an amendment for, similar to the one before, to make sure that all village codes of the Village of Southampton is also adhered to and maintained. So can I have a second?
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
This is true.
Sorry, I need a motion to adopt that. That was the motion to amend.
Oh,
Oh.
I'll make the motion to amend, and then.
I'll make the motion to adopt.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Trustee resolution 2026-0045, application of Max New York Management 322 East Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, New York, Suffolk County tax map number 900-231-1-40. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. I have trustee 2026-0046, the third renewal application of NTS Mecox LLC, 74 Point Mecox Lane, Bridgehampton, New York, Suffolk County tax map number 900-134-1-41.2.
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Trustee number 2026-0047, application of 363 SAG Associates LLC, 363 Sagaponic Road, Bridgehampton, New York, Suffolk County tax map number 900-89-2-10. I recommend this. I'll motion.
Need a second?
I'll second that.
Great.
All in favor?
that. Aye.
Motion passes.
One
Okay.
thing I see trustee resolution, the
That's
next
it,
up is
that-
49, but then 48 is on the next page, and then it goes to 50?
Yeah, this new program, it goes out of order.
Okay, do we want to just go in the order that's printed, or do you want to go in?
I would go in the order that it's printed. That's the easiest for me.
It's a document number, so we can't just unilaterally change it. It's been
Yeah,
assigned
in
it, we read it.
In Minitrack, it used to go in order.
Gotcha.
But this one, it goes, I don't know why, but it doesn't.
Whose is the 49? That's Sarah's, I think. It says here on page 12.
For which one? You said for me?
Yeah,
The,
it's, on page 12, that's the actual.
Yeah, we're on to-
0049, and it has you as the sponsor at
Yes.
the top.
Trustee resolution, okay. Trustee, this is 2026, right? 00.
Yeah, it is,
49.
that was corrected to
I'll
20.
recall and amend resolution 2024-290, authorize the president to sign a contract with ICF Jones and Stokes, Inc. for the planning and drafting of the Habitat Conservation Plan and supporting documents. I would love.
Joe seconded it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's okay.
Okay, so now we're going to 48, which is,
Drum roll, please.
Matt.
13.
That is the
Yeah, it's Park Street.
Okay. All right, so, okay.
Pikes Peak, yeah.
Trustee Resolution 2026-0048, resolution authorizing president to sign a letter of support for Village of West Hampton Dunes WQIP grant application for Pikes Beach project.
I'll second that.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And then the last one is Joe?
50 is Joe, yes.
I didn't know,
Well, there's the
Trustee Resolution 51 of 2026, this is resolution authorizing president to sign a letter of support for, on behalf of Wood Hospitality Group for application of CFP septic grant.
No, this was the, to
sorry.
waive the
Oh.
mooring application for the fresh air.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That one's an easy
Sorry.
one.
To waive the application.
And I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye. Let's skip that one.
This is trustee resolution 2026-0051, resolution authorizing the president to sign a letter of support on behalf of the Rooted Hospitality Group application for a CPF septic grant.
Right.
So, this was for Roomba and Cowfish.
Right. I'll second that.
So, yes,
Yeah.
motion for second?
Yeah.
You said last one, that's why I
Yeah,
thought.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and now I'm
And
gonna
then-
have the warrant, trustee resolution 2026-0052, trustee warrant number 2, 2026. Okay, so I'm gonna read this out. The warrant is for $18,135.66. We have Be Ready Fish Bean Hatter for $3,893.75. Charlotte Dickinson, $30.80. James Duryea II, $61.95. Joseph R. Lombardo, $5,800. Loper's Equipment, $233.89. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, $400. PSEG-LI, $17.73. Rapid Recovery Towing, $700. Riverhead Building Supply, $619.02. Town of Southampton, $4,151.97. Trustees of the Freeholders, East Hampton, $2,000. WB Mason Company, $226.55, for a grand total of $18,135.66. Can I get a second for this, please?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I think that was it, right?
That's it.
You do go back and
We did it.
So we're going
A little more
to,
exact.
yeah, we're skipping Jim Olivo. We tabled that to next session, and we're going to go back to executive session.
I will second that.
You have a motion to second by Joe, and we're all in favor?
Aye.
Do I need to bang the gavel?
Bang it, yes.
Bang it, all right.
That's what it's there.